Some pretty concerning breaking news regarding the RCMP today that you should be aware of, and also to get a sense of what's going to happen next. So, back in 2020, there was a mass murder in Nova Scotia, a significant shooting. Many of you remember it. Just a horrific incident that really scarred a lot of communities in Nova Scotia. And the response to that shooting has been the subject of a public inquiry. And during this public inquiry, there were questions raised about whether or not the top boss at the RCMP was inserting politics into part of the RCMP's response to the shooting. And yesterday, some really shocking audio of a meeting that occurred came forward. This audio recording has been talked about existing for some time, but it hadn't been made public. And yesterday it came forward as part of this inquiry, and it's really bad. And I want to walk through what the audio said, why it's bad, and then what needs to happen next in terms of what our party, the Conservative Party, is working on. So, in one of the press conferences that took place in the aftermath of the shooting, and I'm going to read from an article that Brian Lilly in Postmedia has out today, and I encourage you to read this article. But Superintendent Darren Campbell, the face of the investigation, said he did not include information that top boss Brenda Lukey had wanted released because it was concerned it would jeopardize ongoing efforts to trace source of the guns. Now, this is the core of the issue here. What happened? So what Mr. Superintendent Campbell was asserting was that the RCMP top boss wanted information disclosed about the types of firearms that were used in the shooting, even though the police that were managing the investigation said, we shouldn't be doing this because it's going to impact our ability to conduct an investigation and bring justice at the end of the day, right? So that's what that paragraph refers to. Now, the top boss, Brenda Lukey, had asserted that no such thing happened, but yesterday in this audio recording, it sure said otherwise. This is a transcript of the key part of this audio recording. And this is what the RCMP top boss said. Does anybody realize what's going on in the world of handguns and guns right now? The fact that they're in the middle of trying to get legislation going, that legislation is supposedly to actually help police. And what she's referring to here is liberal legislation with regard to firearms, which has been very controversial. By saying this, she's essentially trying to, and how I read this, and many people are reading this, influence how police are communicating on an active investigation against the advice of people who are actually conducting the investigation in order to fulfill the political directive around legislation. Now, the reason why this is so concerning is that this should never happen in policing, right? There has to be a separation between the police and the legislative and executive branch of government for obvious reasons, right? Like our whole constitution, or the way that we do government is set up based on that separation. And this is completely inappropriate. So what happens next? I encourage you to read about this because it's really concerning. It's one of many issues that have sort of been piling up about the RCMP. For example, and I could add to the list, there's been a lot of concerns about how this top boss, how sexual assault claims within the RCMP are being treated. There's a lot of concerns around how First Nation and Indigenous persons have been treated by the RCMP and how this top boss has been treating them. And now we've got this that's come out, and my understanding is that very shortly this person is going to be set to testify about the RCMP's role in managing or not managing the convoys that happened through the Emergencies Act inquiry. There's a lot of concerns here that need to be addressed. So What I'd like you to do is I encourage you to follow my colleague Raquel Dancho. She's a member of parliament from Winnipeg, and she's acting as our public safety critic right now. And she is on top of this. And I just want to assure you that the Conservative Party, we're really, really concerned about this. And she's going to try to get to the bottom of this. But regardless of how you vote, like no matter what your political affiliation is, there should be a huge concern with the top boss of Canada's police force, essentially, using liberal talking points. This is literally a talking point. It's something that's in the minister's question period binder, I'm sure, that she would be using those talking points to try and change or influence how police are responding to an investigation. That is... it's not, to me, it's not just a massive lapse of judgment, which it is. It also shows that there's some pretty big systemic issues within the RCMP. And, you know, an institution like that needs public trust. And something like this really does undermine public trust. It's really important that you share this video because I think Canadians need to know how bad this is. And when you do share this video, encourage people, particularly over the weekend, to read the news coverage of this issue. This can't be something that's swept under the rug. It is highly concerning. And I'm here in Ottawa today, and this is something that we are definitely seized with. Anyway, just shocking. I heard that call. If you know, it's posted all over online. I encourage you to listen to it. It just is, it's something else. I can't believe that we're in a point in this country where you've got like essentially the leader of Canada's police force reading liberal talking points as a way to try and insert or, you know, affect an investigation. Just crazy. Please share this video. We're going to get back to holding the government to account on this. Working hard for you in Ottawa. Have a great day.